Welcome students. Today we are going to proceed our discussion regarding business studies, second chapter which involves fuels, principles of management. And further we will carry out the discussion regarding the second point, that is major contributions that are given by Henry Fayol in the field of management. We will discuss about the history and background of Fayol, where we will continue our discussion and look after the issues that how these principles plays a dominant role in the field of management, and what are the different principles, how many principles are there which are given by Henry Fayol. So far Henry is concerned, he is considered to be one of intellect in the field of management, and his theories, his concepts, his perceptions are very meaningful, very significant, which just changed the face of management in 90s and 80s. So here, so far Henry is concerned, let us discuss about his background, from where he belonged, how he came into the field of management, and what made him so great in the field of management. So far Henry Fayol is concerned, he was born in the year 1841 in France, and he got his degree in mining engineering in the year 1860, where he became an expert in the field of the mining engineering, and he started to work as an engineer in a coal mining industry, in a coal mining company in 1888, in 80s you can say. And in the year 1888 he was promoted as the managing director of the company. He became the managing director as he joined in the form of an engineer, but with his efforts, with his knowledge, with his skill, he contributed positively to the development and growth of the company concern, and he was later given and designated the post of managing director in the year 1888. And at that particular time the company was in a situation of insolvency. बहुत ही विकटतम आर्थिक परिस्थिति थी उस कंपनी कंसर्न के साथ जब इनको एमडी बनाया गया, जब मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर के रूप में नियुक्त किए गए. But he accepted the challenge, he accepted the conditions prevailing in the company concern, and he applied his managerial knowledge, his managerial techniques, his managerial skills to bring success to the organization. And he was capable in that particular context to remove the company, to bring out the company from that financial crisis, from that financial situation. And he succeeded. And his success made a history in the field of management. It was the time when his success was noted down, was inscripted in the entire world, that a situation can be handled on the basis of managerial techniques, management tools. So he became one of the renowned person, renowned intellect in the field of the management. And when he was retired after working of 30 years in the same particular company, he did not resign from that company. He continued his profession in the same company and worked and served for 30 years. And when he got retirement, by then the company became one of the leading company. That coal mine company was although a coal company, along with the coal, it has distributed itself, diversified itself in the field of steel. So the company was then one of the renowned and one of the leading company in the field of coal and in the field of steel. So this was the effort, this was the skill, talent and managerial techniques which were adopted by this intellect, Henry Fayol, who proved to the entire world, to the industrial sector in the field of management, he inscripted his name with his techniques, with his contributions, with his applications of managerial tools. So here the Henry is considered to be the father of management studies and thoughts. इनको क्या कहा जाता है? Father of management thoughts कहा जाता है. हाँ, तो यहाँ मैनेजमेंट स्टडीज की दुनिया में ये अपना नाम बना पाए और इनको ग्रेट होने का दर्जा भी मिला, as he is renowned person in the field of management and he is considered to be the father of management studies and thoughts. तो so far the contribution is concerned, क्या योगदान रहे, क्या contributions रहे हेनरी फेयोल के in the field of management, it need to be understood by you and you must go through different books, different managerial books which are available in the market to know more about Henry Fayol. You can go through internet also, Wikipedia also, there you can get a lot of details and information which will help you. You must know about him very thoroughly because this will help you, support you in corrective informations, in collecting informations regarding this particular person, Henry Fayol, so that you can prepare best materials, best notes and give best for your practical examinations. So far, the projects are based on Henry Fayol and many other intellects are also there, like F.W. Taylor, Frederick Wilson, Taylor. So we will discuss regarding him in the upcoming classes in the same chapter. So far, now the contribution of the renowned person, the father of management studies and thoughts is concerned, he made a clear distinction between the technical skill and the managerial skill. ये वो पहले व्यक्ति थे, पहले पर्सन थे जिन्होंने वेद या अंतर स्पष्ट किया, क्लियर किया समाज में, लोगों के बीच, मैनेजमेंट फील्ड में कि देखिए मैनेजरियल स्किल और टेक्निकल स्किल दोनों ही एक दूसरे से डिफरेंट हैं, दोनों ही एक दूसरे से अपार्ट हैं, सेपरेट हैं. ये अंतर ये पहले पर्सन थे जिन्होंने स्पष्ट किया और जिसके बाद दुनिया ने मैनेजमेंट को एक अलग कंसेप्शन से देखना शुरू किया, मैनेजरियल स्किल्स को अलग और टेक्निकल स्किल्स को अलग. तो ये भेद, ये डिफरेंशिएशन इनका ही कंट्रीब्यूशन है, इनका ही योगदान है और इनके ही बताए गए थॉट्स को आज भी हम इंप्लीमेंट करते हैं और पूरी वर्ल्ड में इंप्लीमेंटेशन होता है. तो यहां इतना ही नहीं था कि इनका जो क्लियर डिस्टिंक्शन था बिटवीन द मैनेजरियल स्किल एंड द टेक्निकल स्किल, इसके अलावा भी इनके बहुत सारे कंट्रीब्यूशंस रहे. जैसे ही आइडेंटिफाइड द मेन स्टेप्स which are involved in the process of management. ये पहले पर्सन थे और इनका ही दिया गया कंसेप्ट्स को हम पढ़ते भी हैं, डेफिनेशन में भी पढ़ते हैं. जब आपको डिफाइन किया जाता है व्हाट इज मैनेजमेंट, तो आप कहते हो कि मैनेजमेंट इज अ प्रोसेस. मैनेजमेंट क्या है? एक प्रोसेस है which involves different functions. क्या functions? प्लानिंग, ऑर्गेनाइजिंग, स्टाफिंग, डायरेक्टिंग एंड कंट्रोलिंग. तो ये जो फंक्शंस हैं, इन फंक्शंस को सेपरेट करके आपके सामने प्रेजेंट करने वाले यही महान व्यक्ति थे, हेनरी फेयोल. तो he defined that management is a process which consists of, which comprises of different functions, and the functions are planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling, which are applied in the organization differently in different state of moment, different time, depending upon the situation, on the basis of situations arises in the company concern. But such steps, such functions need to be conducted in a sequential manner, in a consistent manner. So he gave these major 4 functions, and these 4 functions are explained, are just brought into existence by the contribution of Henry Fayol. And when we talk in the sequence of contributions, another major contribution that comes into existence is the 14 principles. इन्होंने 14 principles दिए हैं. इनका दिया गया 14 principles, you can say it is the undoubtable tool in the field of management which brought success not only to 1, 2 or 4 companies, hundreds of companies. And even today we are adopting his principles, and on the basis of the implication, use and application of such principles in the company concern in different situations, company are able to eradicate the problem, remove the problems from the company and become capable of bringing success to the organization by attaining the organizational goals. So here he gave 14 principles of management which are concrete, well tested and universally applicable. So these 14 principles acts as a guidelines for the managers to perform different managerial actions, different managerial activities. They help, they assist, and they support in taking managerial decisions. And there are other contributions also. He wrote a number of books in the field of management, which are being followed by the experts, by the entrepreneurs, by the specialists in the field of management. So you can look after the internet and go through with in-depthness to collect the informations regarding his contributions further in the given field of management. So here, so far your text is concerned, these are the three major contributions which are given by Henry Fayol to enhance, to support the management and to make management one of the eminent prospect in the field of business, in the field of business. Now, so far the 14 principles are concerned. These principles need to be noted down. So he gave 14 principles, and these 14 principles are the most important and most significant thing that is to be discussed one by one in details, and questions will come to you in the form of case studies from these 14 points, from these 14 principles. How it is going to be used, what will be the positive and negative effect if it is used or if it is not used, what is the implication, what is the importance of that particular principle, in what situations such principles need to be implemented. So when you will go through the discussion in this class or in the upcoming classes regarding these 14 principles, it is not only important to recite it, learn it by point in a sequential manner, in a systematic manner, just to understand. It is also necessary just to understand it and keep it with you in your consciousness, so that in future whenever you will get an opportunity to work as a manager, to work as an expert in the field of management, you will become capable of implementing these principles for good results and good output in the company concern. So go through the practical knowledge, not only go through the theoretical conception of these particular points, particular principles, it is utmost necessary to understand it with a sensitivity. Now, let us proceed regarding these 14 principles. So far as these 14 principles are concerned, they are firstly the principle of division of work. First principle is principle of division of work. Well, let us proceed with the very first point. What does this principle says and what the principle is? So this particular principle of division of work, it states that the whole work, the entire work of the company concern is to be divided into small fragments, into small divisions or units, you can say. And instead of assigning the whole task, complete task to a single person, instead of assigning this entire activity to a single person, to a single individual, the work must be distributed in different people according to their skill, according to their knowledge, according to their qualification, according to the experiences of different people in different areas, in different fields. So the entire work here, if it will be assigned to a single person, it will be a painful job. It will be panic, and it will become a tough, challenging, and overload, you can say, overburden on a single person, that he can complete the task with efficiency and effectiveness. These two terms, effectiveness and efficiency, are very meaningful and very important in the field of management. We have discussed that here efficiency symbolizes without any wastage, at a minimum cost the goods need to be prepared. or the work need to be done. And secondly, effectiveness symbolizes completion of the task in time. So the task which is assigned to a single individual, there is a question that whether or if he can complete that particular job or particular task with efficiency and effectiveness. Yes, there is a doubt that if a person is given a single task, the entire task, then it is a big burden for him, and there is a chance of error, there is a chance of mistake, there is a chance of confusion, there is a chance of negligence, and it can be a part of the business, it can be a part of there can be a possibility of error, mistakes that can lead to non-accomplishment of the goal, non-accomplishment of the task. So instead of assigning this entire work or the whole work to a single person, if we are going to divide this work in a number of people, in small groups, then the workload will be reduced, the pressure will be reduced, and due to less burden or limited burden, the person, the individual, the employees can focus positively over a specific area, and they can do the activity with specialization, with efficiency, with effectiveness, and there will be minute or say no chance of negligence or no chance of error or non-accomplishment of the task. So here the entire focus of Henry Fayol was to complete the task, to complete the responsibility with efficiency and effectiveness. So he focused that the entire work should not become a liability and a just overburden for a single person, for a single individual. Rather, it should be divided, it should be fragmented, and people have their own qualifications or different qualifications, different skill of knowledge, skill of efficiency, and on the basis of their experiences, the work need to be assigned to them, the work need to be given to them. Because when a person, if the work is assigned to the people on the basis of their knowledge, on the basis of their skill, on the basis of their experiences, you can focus on performing a particular part of the job again and again. आप एक सीमित मात्रा में, सीमित दायरे में उस कार्य को करते हैं जो आपके नॉलेज, आपके स्किल, आपके एफिशिएंसी या आपके एक्सपीरियंसेस के आधार पे आपको दी गई है। तो वो सीमित दायरा और वो सीमित कार्य जब अगेन एंड अगेन आप रिपीटेडली करते जाते हैं, तो ये आपको मोर परफेक्ट बनाता है, मोर स्पेशलाइज्ड बनाता है और एक्सपर्ट बना देता है एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया में। इससे एफिशिएंसी इंप्रूव होती है, इससे क्षमता बढ़ती है और चांसेस ऑफ एरर नहीं होते, नेग्लिजेंस नहीं होता, क्योस नहीं होता, मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं होती है और ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल गोल बहुत ही स्मूथली अकम्प्लिश हो जाता है। तो ये हेनरी फ्योल के मुताबिक उनका कहना यह था। अब हेनरी फ्योल सेड दैट, नाउ हेनरी फ्योल सेड दैट नॉट ओनली द फैक्ट्री वर्क बट द टेक्निकल वर्क्स, सिर्फ फैक्ट्री के वर्क्स को हम डिवाइड करने की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं। द वर्क नॉट ओनली रिलेटेड टू द फैक्ट्री बट रिलेटेड टू द टेक्निकल एरिया, मैनेजरियल एंड स्किल जॉब्स। जितने भी मैनेजरियल फीचर्स के जॉब होते हैं, जितने भी स्किल फीचर्स के जॉब होते हैं, जहां स्किल्स की जरूरत होती है, टैलेंट्स की जरूरत होती है, जहां पे टेक्निकल है, कॉम्प्लिकेटेड वर्क है, इन वर्क्स को भी हमें डिवाइड कर देना चाहिए स्मॉल यूनिट्स में, स्मॉल डिविजन्स में, जिससे क्या होगा कि स्पेशलाइजेशन डेवलप होगा, एफिशिएंसी इंप्रूव होगी। तो इस पर्टिकुलर सिचुएशन को हम लोग एक एग्जांपल के साथ रिलेट करते हैं, एक केस के साथ रिलेट करते हैं। तो इन ए केस स्टडी लेट अस टेक ए फर्नीचर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनी, एक फर्नीचर मैन्युफैक्चर करने वाली कंपनी को हम लेते हैं और वहां पे वन पर्सन इज आस्क्ड टू जस्ट कट डाउन द वुडन पीसेस। एक पर्सन को हम बोलते हैं कि आप वुडन पीसेस को कट करो, दूसरे पर्सन को हम बोलते हैं कि उसको ज्वाइन करिए, तीसरे पर्सन को बोलते हैं कि नाउ लेट अस गिव द फाइनल टच टू द फर्नीचर। तो एक आदमी वुड कट कर रहा है, एक आदमी वुड को ज्वाइन कर रहा है, असेंबल कर रहा है, और तीसरा पर्सन क्या कर रहा है, उसको पॉलिश कर रहा है, टच दे रहा है, पेंट कर रहा है, टेक्सचर दे रहा है, फाइनल टच कर रहा है। तो इस तरह से हमने एंटायर वर्क को तीन अलग अलग हिस्सों में अलग अलग लोगों को दे दिया। Now here single person is not responsible for the entire work of manufacturing the furniture. Rather here three people have been involved in completing the whole task. So work has been divided. Work has been fragmented in small units. And when such a division is done, with each division or with this particular division, every person, each person will become specialized expert in his part of job. वो जितना कार्य के लिए जिम्मेदार है, एक जो वुडन वुड्स काटने के लिए जिम्मेदार है, वो सिर्फ वो पर्टिकुलर वर्क ही कर रहा है. सेकेंड पर्सन वो असेंबल कर रहा है, और तीसरा जो है कि पॉलिश या फाइनल टच दे रहा है. तो ये तीनों पर्सन्स अलग अलग कार्य कर रहे हैं और अलग अलग दायरे में कर रहे हैं, किसी का किसी से अटैचमेंट नहीं है. एंड बाय रिपीटिंग दिस जॉब मल्टीपल टाइम्स अगेन एंड अगेन, तो स्पेशलाइजेशन कम्स. एक्सपर्ट हो जाते हैं. वो ब्लाइंडली भी अगर उस काम को करते हैं तो वहां पे चांसेस ऑफ एरर नहीं होते हैं, वहां गलती होने के या मिस्टेक होने के चांसेस नहीं होते हैं, बिकॉज वो रिपीटेडली उस एक्टिविटीज को करके और अपने में स्पेशलाइजेशन जनरेट कर लिया है. अगर वो इनएफिशिएंट वे में भी पॉलिश कर रहा है तो उसकी पॉलिश में कोई क्वेश्चन मार्क क्रिएट नहीं होगा, बिकॉज ही इज ओनली हैविंग अ लिमिटेड पार्ट ऑफ द जॉब एंड he is in a habit of repeating the job again and again, which has created efficiency, which has created expertise, which has created specialization in that particular individual, in that particular worker. तो बेटा division of work is a significant aspect, very important principle. देखने में और सुनने में तो हमको इस तरह से बहुत सिंपल लग रहा है, but you think about a company produces 2 lakh units annually, and suppose 200 managers are there. If the entire 2 lakh unit responsibility is given to a single manager, how troublesome it will be for that particular person to accomplish the job without any error, without any problem. But if the entire 2 lakh unit is divided in 200 managers equally, then just 1000 unit will become the responsibility of a single manager, and he can focus more in a more better way, in a more perfect way, he can work in an isolation and can give his best efforts to complete that particular job in time without any wastage at a minimum cost. So such division of work becomes very effective when it is executed in the organizations which are manufacturing, which are doing the business on a large scale. So we are talking about the large scale organization and multinational companies here. So division of work, or this principle of division of work, is very effective, very essential, very significant. It cannot be neglected, and it is implemented in today's scenario, in present scenario. So this was all about the principles of division of work. Now let us discuss about the impact, influences. क्या प्रभाव पड़ता है, कैसे अच्छे प्रभाव पड़ते हैं और कौन से बुरे प्रभाव पड़ते हैं अगर इस प्रिंसिपल को हम एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं या नहीं करते हैं. So if we are going to implement this principle of division of work, it leads to two major things. What? It leads to specialization. Firstly, effects, positive effects. It leads to specialization, and secondly, it improves the efficiency level, of the employees working in different areas. So here it develops specialization and it improves the level of efficiency of the employees. These are the positive effects. These are the positive effects which gets created in the organization, which comes to the organization when this principle of division of work is implemented, is executed. But if we do not apply this principle, when we do not give importance to this principle, then obviously the consequences will be in a negative way, in adverse way. Firstly, there will be lack of efficiency in the overall organization among the employees. So work will not be done smoothly, work will not be performed smoothly. There will be wastage of resources, there will be production, but the cost of production will be higher, will become high, and which will lead to decrease in the profitability of the company concerned. So if less profit will come to the organization, then it will become a big question mark for the growth, for the expansion, for the survival of the company concerned. So here, negligence, avoiding the principle of division of work will bring adverse consequences. It will create lack of efficiency. Secondly, there will be no specialization in the company concern. If anyone is given any work, then it will not develop the skills of the employees. It will not create expertise among the people or employees working in the organization. It will not improve the efficiency of the organization. So far, the individuals are concerned. So here, it is utmost necessary that we have to generate, we have to develop expertise, we have to develop specialization among our individuals. For that, division of work is necessary. Division of work is to be implemented. So if it will not be implemented, then there will be no expertise, there will be no chance of specialization, neither the level of knowledge and expertise will develop among the individuals. Thirdly, there will be chance of what? Duplication of the work. There will be a chance of repetition of the work. For example, अगर मैं पॉलिश कर रहा हूं, मैंने कभी इससे पहले पॉलिश नहीं किया है और मेरे जैसे पर्सन को उठा के और पॉलिश करने के लिए लगा दिया गया, सेम एग्जांपल में, तो व्हाट वर्क आई विल डू, व्हाट एफर्ट आई विल डेडिकेट, I will waste the materials, I will misuse the materials, over utilization of the materials will be conducted. और मैं एक खराब करूंगा, उसके बाद फिर दोबारा से दूसरा वुडन पीस लेके उसको पॉलिश करने जाऊंगा तो वो भी खराब हो जाएगा, अनइवन शेप का हो जाएगा. तो इसलिए मुझे सेम एक्टिविटी को रिपीटेडली करना होगा, which will reduce the which will just waste the materials to a greater extent. So this is a loss to the company. This is going to increase the cost of production of the company concern. On the other hand, it is going to decrease the profit of the company concern. So duplication will become a part of the activities. So repetition and duplication of the work means wastage of resources. So here it is very significant, very important that we cannot neglect this division of work or principle of division of work in the field of management, which is one of the essential and first principle of management. So far, the second principle of management is concerned. We can discuss it regarding the principle of authority and responsibility. Second is principle of authority and responsibility. So it is the second principle, which is another important principle which is given by Henry Fayol. Here, before going to the in-depthness or in details regarding this particular principle of authority and responsibility, we have to understand these two terms, authority and responsibility. Here, authority means power to take the decisions. Power to take decisions. किसी भी निर्णय को लेने की क्षमता अगर होती है तो उसे हम ऑथोरिटी कहते हैं. Power to take the decisions. In a company concern, all the people cannot take the decisions. Only certain people are there who are given the authority, who are given with the power to take the decision regarding what? Regarding completion of the task. उसके personal activities या personal task को पूरा करने के लिए नहीं ऐसे authority दी जाती है. But such authority is given to the employees to complete the task with efficiency and effectiveness. तो activities को करने के लिए, टास्क को पूरा करने के लिए पावर दिए जाते हैं ताकि डिसीजंस लिए जा सकें, जरूरत के वक्त सिचुएशन के अकॉर्डिंग डिसीजंस लिए जा सकें. और ऐसी दक्षता जिसके पास जो होती है उसको हम ऑथोरिटी बोलते हैं, और जो पर्सन ऑथराइज्ड होता है उसे हम इंटेलेक्ट बोलते हैं. Second, responsibility. Responsibility means the task. Responsibility का मतलब होता है task, work assigned, task or work assigned to an individual. किसी भी व्यक्ति को, जो हमारा सबऑर्डिनेट है, जो हमारा जूनियर है, उसे जो हम कार्य देते हैं, जो एक्टिविटी देते हैं, जो टास्क देते हैं, जो वर्क देते हैं, उस वर्क को हम रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कहते हैं. तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है ये दोनों टर्म जिसके बारे में आप हम डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं. तो नाउ दिस पर्टिकुलर प्रिंसिपल ऑफ ऑथोरिटी एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी सिंपली मीन्स, here the term authority means the power to take decision, and responsibility symbolizes to the task or the work assigned to an individual. So here, according to this principle, there should be a balance. There should be a balance between authority and responsibility. So there, such a balance or such a parity between the authority and responsibility is very significant, and it is very important. Why? Because if there will be an imbalance, if excess of authority will be there or excess of responsibility will be there, then it leads to misunderstanding. It leads to wrong decisions. It leads to wrong consequences, adverse consequences, which will bring failure to the company concern, which will lead to inefficiency to the company concern, which will lead to ineffectiveness in the company concern. And both inefficiency and ineffectiveness are a bigger issue, a big problem, a big hurdle for the company concern. So here it is utmost necessary to balance or bring parity between the authority and responsibility. So now let us try to understand that how such a match can be created, why such a match is to be created, what will happen if there is a mismatch or an imbalance in this particular context. So let us take an example. If a person is given with an excess of responsibility is given. Suppose I have been given with a task to produce 1000 unit of output. मुझे 1000 यूनिट प्रोड्यूस करना है और मुझे कोई भी अथॉरिटी नहीं दी गई, कोई भी पावर नहीं दिया गया, कोई भी डिसीजन टेकिंग इंस्ट्रक्शंस नहीं दिए गए हैं, सिर्फ मुझे वर्क मिला है, मुझे रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी मिली है. तो आई विल स्टार्ट टू डू वर्क. ओके, आफ्टर प्रोड्यूसिंग 200 यूनिट्स from that 1000 unit, I found that there is no raw material. There is no raw material available in the stock that can be used for the process of production. The next day when my superior came and asked to me regarding the output, I reported him that out of 1000 units, I have only produced 200 units. He became very angry and he behaved reluctantly. He asked me, what is the reason behind your unproductivity? क्यों नहीं प्रोड्यूस किया? What is the reason? आपको जो कार्य दिए गए हैं आपको पूरा करना चाहिए, आपको इसीलिए इस संस्था में जगह मिली है या रखा गया है, अपॉइंटमेंट मिली है. So who will do this task? How the work will be completed? So I simply raised my hand. मैंने हाथ खड़े कर लिए और कहा कि सर, how can I just manage the raw material for the sake of production? There was no raw material in the stock and I was unable to produce. तो ये कह के मैं अपनी प्रॉब्लम को तो स्किप कर दिया, लेकिन आप एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल लेवल पे एज ए मैनेजर की तरह सोचो, जो 1000 यूनिट का डिलीवरी आज होने वाला था अपने कंज्यूमर्स को, जिसमें से 200 यूनिट ही प्रोड्यूस हो पाए हैं, 800 यूनिट अनप्रोड्यूस्ड रह गए हैं. क्या हम उस डिलीवरी को आज मेंटेन कर सकते हैं? नहीं. इमीडिएटली द कंज्यूमर विल कैंसल द ऑर्डर. I am not interested in the product of your company concern. And जो सेल्स 1000 यूनिट का होता, जिससे हमारा कुछ अमाउंट का प्रॉफिट जनरेट होता, वो तो चला गया. वो तो सॉरी वो तो चला गया. तो यहाँ पे क्या क्रिएट हुआ? यहाँ पे फेलियर क्रिएट हुआ. यहाँ पे कंपनी became the loser. Why? Because there is no authority which is given to the subordinates or given to the individual to complete that particular task. So when excess of responsibility will be there, overburden will be there in comparison to the authority. So there is a requirement to balance the authority and responsibility. In this example, I must have been given with the authority to take the decisions to complete 1000 unit at any cost, in time, without wastage of resources. So if such authority would have been given to me, अगर मुझे ऐसी क्षमता दे दी गई होती या अथॉरिटी दे दी गई होती, तो मैं प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट से मैसेज कन्वे करवाता अपने स्टोर हाउस में कि आई नीड रॉ मटेरियल्स which need to be just submitted at that particular stake of moment so that I can produce this 1000 unit. और ये इनएफिशिएंसी क्रिएट नहीं होती या चांस ऑफ एरर क्रिएट नहीं होता. तो यहाँ पे मेरे को भी कुछ अथॉरिटी की जरूरत थी जो डिसीजन टेकिंग में मुझे हेल्प कर पाता, सपोर्ट कर पाता कि मैं अपने 1000 यूनिट को मैन्युफैक्चर करके और स्टोर में सप्लाई करवा देता या स्टोर करवा देता, जिससे कि कंज्यूमर के डिमांड को हम इंस्टेंटली पूरा कर पाते और कंपनी के प्रॉफिट को हम मेंटेन कर पाते. जो हमारे प्लान्स थे उसके अकॉर्डिंग हम उस प्लान पे एक बैलेंस्ड वे में अपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को लेके जा सकते थे. So I think you must have understood that what is the importance of authority and what is the importance of responsibility. There should always be a balance between the authority and responsibility. And adversely, अगर इसका विपरीत हम लोग डिस्कस करते हैं, I have only 1 minute left, so we will carry on the discussion regarding this particular principle in the very next class. Till then, I would like to communicate for a single minute. Please come on mic. Everyone, clear है? डिस्कशन समझ में आ रहा है आप लोग को?
Yes, sir.
Okay, तो जो भी टॉपिक पढ़ाया जा रहा है यहाँ से आपका बिजनेस मेन स्टार्ट होता है. अभी तक इंट्रोडक्शन चल रहा था इससे पहले, तो आप लोग बुक पढ़ के और आया करिए क्लास में, ठीक है? अगला 2-3 प्रिंसिपल्स पढ़ के आप लोग अगले क्लास में आइए. हर क्लास में ये हैबिट जनरेट कर लीजिए और आई रिक्वेस्ट यू कि रीड NCERT बुक and try to give your best in accountancy and economics as well, because if you will be good in accountancy and economics, then only you can do good in this particular subject, because this is the backbone of commerce and it is going to help and support you till your last breath in the field of commerce. Okay, any doubts, any queries?